Good afternoon, Vernon. This is Karen Davino, Superintendent, along with Dr. McKay, Assistant Superintendent. We wanted to talk to you today about an update to the reopening schedule. I know many of you are counting on the blue and gold teams being together starting November 16th, which is next Monday.
Absolutely.
That is going to happen. And the first thing we wanted to talk about was how that was going to happen. So on the October 15th Board of Education meeting, there were some folks who were very concerned about social distancing and about the number of students in class. So Dr. McKay, why don't you talk just a little bit about kind of the approach we took in trying to maintain as many health and safety protocols as possible in combining both cohorts next week.
Right, and of course this is with a real eye towards how COVID has ticked up. So we are very concerned, and we understand completely that people are concerned. So what we've done in the last 2 weeks with Mr. Gagliostro, as well as Mr. Rogers, Mr. Kendler, and myself, is basically taking a look at everyone's schedule.
Right.
Every child's schedule is out in a room that we have down at the bottom of the hallway. And we've been working it out so that we put the largest group of students, when blue and gold comes back together, in the largest possible space that we have. And the effort there is to try to make sure that we have as much social distancing as we possibly can. And we've achieved a lot of it. Because we have big spaces in our building, we've achieved a lot of it. There are certain classes that without the screens, we probably wouldn't be able to do it. But of course, we have ordered screens for all of our students.
And they're here, our student screens are here.
They're here and they're delivered to the building. So we have the large screens and the small screens depending on desk size. They have windows front and on the sides.
It's a three-sided screen.
Exactly. And we'll be working with them as well. And we've also ordered teacher screens, which we're waiting for them to come in, but they'll be at the front desk of the teachers. So all of these safety precautions, along with everything that we've already done, is in place. But we have spent, if you will, countless hours on the schedules to make sure that our students are as safely distanced as possible. So kudos to all those folks that have been doing work here at the Board of Ed in order to make sure that happens. But that leads to the 16th, and we're trying to do the blue and gold together.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos also to our facilities department. They actually did an analysis of the entire district. They took, we have a program called Akita Box that will take a look at every classroom and the square footage, as well as the number of children that can be in that class per code. And then we applied a COVID formula to it so that the kids are 6 feet apart and we can maintain social distancing. And then again, through the schedules, have been working, of course, with the administrators and the teachers to say, you know, when you've got blue and gold together, here's the number of children, you know, they can fit in your room. How do you see the configuration changing? So teachers are right now currently working on where are they placing seats in the classroom? Do they need to be using the farthermost points in their classroom, changing the rows a little bit, or utilizing larger spaces like libraries, gyms, etc., larger classrooms, right? So we do feel like we're in pretty good shape as far as being ready to go for next week on the 16th, which is good because next week it's blue and golds combined Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So everybody that's next week. We'll get to everything.
We still have a virtual day in there, and I'll review everything in this podcast in a little bit of time. I'll review everything for folks.
But what that does is it doubles the amount of instructional time for our cohorts, and it still provides support for our fully virtual students, right?
Absolutely.
So our fully virtual students still have that Wednesday, and they still have the afternoons to have additional support from their teachers.
Right, and in each of the weeks, the coming weeks, it will be at least 3 days of Synchronous. Now, some teachers at the high school are doing 5 days of Synchronous. Some are doing 4.
Right.
In other buildings, it's 3. So we are going to see the Synchronous uptick. There's going to be a lot more Synchronous education. So,
and that's
and
really
1/3 of our students are virtual. Yes.
Right.
That's, of course, 6-12. And, of course, in elementary school, you have a virtual teachers already assigned.
Yes.
We do have some adjustments with teacher schedules, et cetera. We want to make sure that they're in the right room, so we have moved some people as well. But we've had very little student movement. We had a couple of students that had to have their schedules changed, but very few, and that's what we were trying to avoid.
And the great thing about Synchronous, I just wanted to piggyback off of something Dr. McKay said. From what I'm hearing, even from children who experience Synchronous, we've kind of played with it these last couple of weeks and given more of an opportunity. Students are saying it's been wonderful seeing the children on the other team, right? Like if you're a blue child, you've never seen the gold children since last year, right? Teachers are feeling, and I don't want to speak for them, but they're feeling like they're teaching one less section because they've got a combined group as opposed to a blue and a gold and a virtual, right? So we really are trying to find the most efficient schedule that maximizes instruction for all parties. We know that people are really, really worried about COVID. So are we. We still have masks on. We've had them on since March. And this is something that we're going to have to learn to work through for now, right?
And each time the governor makes an announcement, as a matter of fact, he's doing it right now,
Right.
Things change. So we want everybody to be aware that there's fluidity here as well. But we do have a virtual plan that we have put together that is significant and ready to go, sitting on our desks and ready to go. It was informed by the SCIP committees in each one of the schools and teacher input, so that's ready to go as well if,
Yep.
God forbid, we have to go virtual. So all of that is in play as we bring this new schedule out. So this is the last week where we're splitting the blue and gold, and now we're going to attempt to bring them back together. Now, there's a couple of reasons why we think this is important, and I do want to talk about honestly with one of them, and maybe you can talk about the social
Sure.
and emotional piece. I'm very concerned about our students' grades, particularly our older students, and I want to say that at the end of the first marking period, which is ending this Thursday, I think we're going to see a significant amount of students doing poorly. And I want to point out that some of that has to do with not being in school.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want to say that it's because they're virtual, because some of our virtual students are doing very well. I'm just saying that the more time that they have with their teachers, in which the teachers prod or cajole them to get work in, to re-examine an essay or a homework assignment, to give them time to talk to their teacher, the better the grades are going to be. Grades are buoyed by impressive people who are working with your children every day going, come on, let's get it in, let's get this done. And I'm not sure we have the ability right now to get all of that done, and I think we're going to see that with the first marking period grades.
Yeah.
I don't want parents to despair, but I want them to know that we do have to work with our students and make sure that
Yeah.
their work is in. And then the other piece is, we're starting to hear, and I truly believe this is true, that some of our students are really feeling isolated, and the
Yeah.
social and emotional toll that's being played on their lives is really starting to tick up
Yeah.
at this very important time, because this is a time of year where we see depression anyway.
Yeah, for sure. We get into the colder months.
Yes.
So I agree with Chuck 1,000%. I mean, I think part of it is, even if you're a parent at home, and if your child unloads the dishwasher the first time you ask them, I think that's wonderful. But the reality is, when we work with children, it's usually, I need you to clean your room, I need you to do the dishes, I need you to do the laundry, whatever it is. The same thing happens in our classrooms, not for every child, but for those children who need that prodding, like Dr. McKay said. They might be your children. I know they're my children. These things happen. So for the teacher who says, I need you to get me that assignment tomorrow, and they can do that on a daily basis, those children are buoyed to get that work done. They also feel a sense of accomplishment
Yes.
when they get the work done. So this spirals right into what you're talking about with depression and with anxiety. So when you stop producing, right, for a child or even for an adult, and you fall so far behind, you just want to hide away and not do anything.
That's it.
When you check something off a checklist, right, your body actually produces happy chemicals that say, job well done. So when the children are not in school and they are not feeling that job well done happy chemical in their brain, they start to spiral into this abyss of whether it's depression, isolation, whatever it is. So we are hearing this from many, many families. If you're a family in that situation, you're not alone. And we really have to find a way to bring everybody together. That being said, we work very, very closely with our public health officials, our nurses in the district, and the Department of Health. So because of that, we will have 2 fully virtual weeks that are coming up in your schedule. So one is the week after Thanksgiving, and one is the week after Christmas. And you probably saw a survey that I put out to the community. We put the same survey out to our faculty. We do worry that with increased travel or visitation, that our community could expose itself to COVID. I mean, for every case we've had here in the schools, not one child has contracted COVID in our school buildings. Not one adult has contracted COVID in our school buildings. I know you're hearing a lot of things out in the community. I can tell you with 100% assurance that the children have either gotten it from a parent, or the faculty that have been affected have gotten it from a spouse. We've not had anybody contract in the schools.
But there's no way that we'll be able to bring the 2 cohorts together without that break after
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving and that break after Christmas week. We know that families get together. We know that the college students are coming back.
Yes.
We know that either staff or students might be traveling to other states and therefore quarantined anyway. So all of that is in play in that decision.
Yes.
You know, we're not going to, so we're really trying this. We're going to get to Thanksgiving, do the week, and then we'll see where we are, but we are going to do this. And it's very important, I think, to thank our teachers, because this is a major shift for our teachers, and we want to make sure that
it's been shifts for them all along.
That they understand that we truly appreciate them as heroes and all that they're doing, because as we bring everybody together and the two cohorts together and still are responsible for the virtual students, our teachers are exhausted. It's been a very, very hard year. Our parents are exhausted. We understand that as well. And we want to make sure that that triangle of the teacher, the parent, and the student stays intact. So we want to make sure that there's more contact with the teachers and maybe support from the parents to get things done. So.
The last couple of things are, we put something out via school messenger last week that said blue and gold are combined, so there may be less social distancing on the buses, and the windows will have to be at least partially open. So if your child is taking the bus to school, it's going to be chilly. Please have them bundle up. They are still required to wear masks. If there's siblings, they will sit next to each other, just like the practice has been, but they will still be staggered on the buses. They may have their seats changed. So if your child is on the bus now and the blue and gold cohorts are combined, they may not be sitting in the same seat as they were before. As you know, you can drive your child to school if you choose to do that. Please make sure you notify Mrs. Van Gilst in transportation. December 7th originally was a week when we were going to expect full days. At this point, we are not talking about full days in school at all.
No,
and when I say full days, that's like inclusive of lunch. At this point, we are really trying to get the kids here for what Dr. McKay said. I mean, that prodding, that nurturing, that support from the teachers, as well as including some breaks after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, and that shorter window of an early dismissal day, the compressed schedule. We think still keeps them enough here and enough not here, right, to maintain that balance.
No, we can't do the blue and gold with food. So
with food, we're not ready at this point. So I think those are the major
so we're going to
changes,
take a look at this, and we'll go through it together and see some of these details so that you have them, and then we'll publish it out today.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Best of luck, Vernon.
Yep. Good to see you. We can't wait to have everybody back.
All right. I want to thank Matt Shea for all of his help with this presentation. As you know, he's always behind the camera, and now he's giving me some new equipment in order to get this done as well. So what we're attempting to do is, we know that COVID is ticking up. We know that the governor just made a proclamation. We understand what parents' concerns are. But we're attempting to bring the blue and gold cohorts together so our students will have at least 4 days of live instruction for the foreseeable future. We will continue to have these days as condensed days or condensed schedules. And the idea simply is to not serve lunch, but to keep students as socially distanced as possible with shields. So we've ordered shields for our students, and they're in, and they've been delivered to the schools. And we've also ordered shields for our teachers. They're not here yet, but they will go on teachers' desks. Teachers will also be using microphones like the one I'm using, and also webcams. Starting November 16th, which is next Monday, we'll bring the blue and gold cohorts into school for a compressed schedule. And here is the schedule: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. 2 of those days, Wednesday and Friday, will be synchronous, and that's at the very least. Most of our teachers are now doing synchronous lessons, particularly at the high school, so it might be all 5 days. I just wanted to make sure that we were set with blue and gold before we got started with the synchronous. They can do synchronous in the afternoon. And then, of course, the following week is Thanksgiving week. So the blue and gold will be combined for synchronous on Monday. Tuesday, the blue and gold will be combined. Wednesday will be blue and gold combined synchronous. And then Thursday and Friday, of course, we have off. So that sets us up for the first 2 weeks. So for 1.5 weeks, we'll be combined blue and gold, which is about 67% of our total population. I don't want everybody to think that everyone's going to be back. About 33% of our students are now virtual and will stay virtual based on the survey that we gave out that was due on October 23rd. Okay, so the following week, Monday the 30th through December 4th, we will be virtual. And the idea simply is, as we just said, was to give us a break while we see what happens because everyone was traveling or visiting with family. And we want to make sure that everyone is okay before we get started again. So we will have a virtual week, and all of those lessons will be synchronous. Then we'll return. On December 7th, we will return, and at that point, it will be 5 days a week where it's blue and gold combined. And again, those are half days or those compressed days. And at least 3 of those days will be synchronous. Now, I put Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but the middle school and the high school, the teachers are choosing the days that at least 3 will be synchronous. Please check on your teacher's website to see what days they have chosen. And again, some of our teachers at the high school in particular are already synchronous 4 days a week. And then Monday, December 14th through the 18th, again, is another week of blue and gold combined with 3 synchronous, 5 days a week. So there's the real test. The real test is coming back after Thanksgiving and getting in those 5 days. And I want to say to all the parents that are concerned, we are concerned too. We understand completely what is going on. We are watching the COVID numbers every day. We are checking with the State Department of Education as well as the County Board of Health. And we are trying to do everything we possibly can to make sure that our students and our staff are healthy. Then the following 2 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before Christmas are blue and gold combined. 2 of those days are synchronous. And then, of course, there's Christmas Eve and Christmas, and then we have the winter break. So we will be off that whole time, but we are also going to go virtual after that period of time because we know people will be traveling, and we also know that people will be visiting. So Monday, January 4th, through Friday, January 8th, we'll be virtual and synchronous. Virtual and synchronous for all students. Then, hopefully, God willing, if all goes well, we'll be back on January 11th, blue and gold combined, synchronous, all 5 days through January 15th. And that's where stage 2 takes us. So I want you to know that we have ordered the screens, and this is what they look like. There's small screens and large screens. We're going to have the students socially distanced in each of the classrooms as much as humanly possible. Based on the classroom size, we have moved classes around. We have adjusted a couple of schedules to make sure that this all works. We put in countless hours to make sure we'll be socially distanced as much as possible. There are some classrooms that won't be able to do this, but again, students will have the screens, they'll have their masks, and they'll have all the PPE that we could possibly need. Screens have been ordered for our teachers for their desks. We're just waiting on that shipment, as I said before. We have continuous cleaning going on. I just want to remind everybody that we have the pandemic response folks who are cleaning the building constantly. We have the masks. We're spraying in each room every night. We have hand washing, sanitizing dispensers in each room to keep our environment as clean as possible. And we thank those people for all their hard work. And again, we will be doing temperature checks, which many schools are not doing. We will be doing for all of our students as they come in. And here's my final statement. COVID-19 is not letting up in our area. We are well aware of everyone's concerns and check on the numbers every day. We also connect with the County Board of Health and the State Board of Education in order to receive the most up-to-date information. We fully understand that this plan can change at a moment's notice. The virtual weeks after Thanksgiving and Christmas are acknowledgement of the risk of COVID-19 spread with family gatherings and students returning from college. But we also understand that our students are struggling, and we want to make sure that we take care of them. And so, Vernon, together, we as the staff, you as our parents and our students, we're going to try to put as many of those pieces together as possible while making sure that the virtual students get the best possible education in this very, very difficult time. So we thank you for your time and your support.